always believed in second chances. Maybe that's what makes this whole thing hurt even more. My wife, Emily, and I had been married for 10 years. Our life together wasn't perfect, but I thought we had built something real, something worth fighting for. So, when she brought up the idea of renewing our vows, I was thrilled. It seemed like the perfect way to reaffirm our love and commitment, to show that after a decade, we were still choosing each other. We started planning everything together. The venue, the guest list, even the little details like flowers and music. She was so excited, so engaged in every part of it, and I felt that familiar spark between us again. I told myself this was exactly what we needed. A fresh start, a reminder of why we fell in love in the first place. We decided to hire a professional wedding planner to make sure everything was perfect. Emily found someone highly recommended, a man named Daniel. He was charming, well-dressed, and had an easy way of making us feel like we were his most important clients. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, there were moments, glances, small touches, inside jokes, that should have raised alarms. One evening, about a month before the ceremony, I came home early from work. Emily was supposed to be meeting with Daniel to go over the final details, and I thought I'd surprise her by showing up. I had no idea I was about to walk straight into a nightmare. When I arrived at the venue, I saw her car parked outside. I walked in, expecting to find her sitting at a table, flipping through color swatches or discussing the menu. Instead, I found her in a private lounge area at the back of the building, sitting way too close to Daniel. At first, it was subtle, just a hand on his arm, a laugh that lingered too long. But then I saw it. His hand sliding up her thigh, her fingers brushing through his hair. They hadn't even noticed me standing there. I felt my heart hammer against my ribs. I wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation, but deep down I already knew. My mind flashed through 1,000 little moments I had ignored. The sudden secrecy with her phone, the late-night planning meetings, the way she had been more distant lately. It all made sense now. My stomach turned, but I forced myself to stay calm. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing me break down. I stepped forward, making my presence known. The way Emily's face drained of color the moment she saw me told me everything I needed to know. "So this is how we're renewing our vows?" I asked, my voice even controlled. Emily jumped up, stammering some pathetic excuse, but I wasn't listening. I was looking at Daniel, who had the nerve to smirk, like he wasn't the least bit ashamed of what he'd been doing. My fists clenched at my sides, every muscle in my body screaming for me to react, to do something. But I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. Instead, I turned to Emily. "Tell me, was this part of the wedding package? Or was this just your own little bonus?" She started crying, reaching for me, but I stepped back. You don't get to touch me. Not after this." And with that, I walked out, leaving her standing there, dress wrinkled, lips trembling, her perfect little wedding plans crumbling around her. I didn't know what my next move would be, but one thing was clear: there wasn't going to be a second wedding. Not for us. I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to scream, throw things, tear everything apart. The other part, the rational side, told me to breathe, to think this through. I had always tried to be the bigger person, but this was different. She had crossed a line I didn't know could be crossed. I didn't go home that night. I needed space, time to think. I drove aimlessly around the city, stopping at a bar I used to frequent back in my single days. I wasn't there for the booze. I didn't even want to drink. I was there to clear my head, to be away from her, from the house, from the life I thought we had. That's when I got a text. It was from Emily. I opened it, my heart sinking as I read her words. "Please, I'm so sorry. It wasn't what you think. I love you. Please come home." My phone buzzed again. Another message. "Please just let me explain. I never meant for this to happen." I was so angry, but also confused. How could she say those things? How could she be sorry, but still do what she did? I wanted to respond, but I couldn't. I didn't have the words. Instead, I called my brother. I needed someone to talk to help me make sense of this madness.
"Hey, man.
"What's up?" he answered after a couple of rings. She's cheating on me, Ryan, I said, my voice hollow. I walked in on her with Daniel, the wedding planner. They were all over each other. There was a long pause.
Jesus, man. I'm sorry.
That's rough. I don't know what to do, I admitted. I thought we were fine. I was planning this second wedding for us. And now I just feel like an idiot. Do you want me to come over? Or should I just come pick you up? I'll be fine. I just need to figure this out. I don't even know if I want to go home. I don't know if I ever want to see her again. You know I've got your back, right? If you need anything, I'm here. Yeah. Thanks, I muttered, my voice tight with emotion. I'll call you later. The phone call ended, and I was left with nothing but silence. The weight of what had happened started sinking in, the full impact of her betrayal. She had gone too far. She had crossed a line that couldn't be undone. I eventually made my way home, each mile feeling like an eternity. When I walked through the door, she was there, sitting on the couch with red, puffy eyes. She didn't look like the woman I had married. She looked like a stranger. Are you going to say anything? Or do I just sit here waiting for you to scream at me? She asked, her voice trembling. I couldn't look at her. My chest was tight, my heart racing. I wanted to yell at her, to demand answers, but I just couldn't. I couldn't look at her without seeing Daniel's hands all over her. I couldn't even begin to understand how this happened. She stood up, taking a step towards me. Please, No. I cut her off, my voice shaking with the rage I was trying to hold back. Don't even try to explain. I saw it with my own eyes, Emily. You've already made your choice. Her face fell, and for the first time, I saw something close to guilt in her eyes. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to erase what I had seen, what I now knew. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me with her apologies. I took a deep breath, turning to walk out the door. I need space. I need time to think. Please don't leave me, she begged, her voice breaking. But I didn't look back. I just walked out, slamming the door behind me. The days after I walked out felt like a blur. Emily called, texted, begged me to come back. But I couldn't. I needed clarity, and I wasn't going to get that by talking to her. I threw myself into work, ignoring her attempts at reconciliation. But deep down I was unraveling. I felt betrayed by the one person I trusted more than anyone. Then 2 weeks later I got a call. It wasn't from Emily, but from Daniel. My blood ran cold as soon as I saw his name flash across the screen. Listen, he said, his voice casual, almost too calm. I know you're pissed, but there's something you need to know. Emily isn't the only one hiding something. I felt my pulse race. What the hell are you talking about? He paused, and then, without warning, dropped a bomb. Your wife isn't the only one she's been sleeping with. I froze. What? What do you mean? Don't play dumb, man. The whole time you've been planning that stupid second wedding, she was with someone else. Someone close to you. Someone you know well. My mind raced, but I couldn't make sense of it. Who? You'll find out soon enough, he said, hanging up before I could respond. I stared at my phone, my head spinning. Someone I knew well? I couldn't even wrap my mind around it. I had to find out. I spent the next few hours calling people, digging through old messages. And then, it hit me, Ryan. My brother. I raced to his place, knocking furiously at the door. When he answered, I didn't even wait. Did you know? Did you know what Emily's been doing? Ryan's face paled, and for a split second, I saw something in his eyes I couldn't explain. He stepped back, avoiding my gaze. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, Ryan. Did you know about her affair with Daniel? Ryan didn't respond at first. Then, in a quiet voice, he muttered, It's not what you think. I shoved him against the wall, my rage building. Tell me everything now. He exhaled, finally looking at me, his expression full of regret. I didn't mean for it to happen. But it wasn't just them. Emily and my world shattered in that moment. My own brother had been sleeping with my wife. All this time, while I was blindly planning a future with her, she had been tearing us both apart. I didn't know what to do. My mind couldn't process the betrayal. My wife. My brother. How had it all gone so wrong? I walked out, leaving Ryan standing there. The weight of what he'd said, what he'd done, pressing down on me. I wasn't angry anymore. I was numb. A month passed. Emily tried reaching out, but I didn't respond. Couldn't even look at her anymore. I spent time with friends, got my life back on track. And then, one day, I heard about her second wedding ceremony without me. She had gone ahead with it. She'd married Daniel. No surprises there. But the real kicker, the one that finally made me see just how deep the lies ran. The wedding planner wasn't the only one she'd been planning her new life with. I'm not bitter. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just done. I walked away. But in the end, it wasn't just her I lost. It was everything I thought I knew about love, about trust. And in a weird way, I was grateful for it. Because it was the betrayal that set me free.